Let's start with Anagha. Anagha, what did you bring?
So I brought a copy of The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. It's
Ooh,
one of my favorite books, and I've
all right.
wanted to read it for a long time. Haven't finished the series.
Hold
The
on
fourth.
to that. We're going to ask you more about it in a second. Don't give it all away.
Spoilers.
It's perfect. Spoiler. No, it's good. Thank you. Hold that thought though. And then Carly, just flash it. What did you bring?
I brought a box of Legos.
Box of Legos. Ooh, all right. Well, first of all, you can already tell this is going to be a dynamic matchup. I have two teenagers in Not Quite Strangers. So welcome. My name is Valerie Hope, everyone. And this is a podcast called Not Quite Strangers. It's an opportunity to have two people who never met each other that I personally know actually meet. And hopefully through the conversation, inspire curiosity, build connection, and we might even challenge and disrupt the status quo. And today is no different. If you have not already done so, please subscribe to www.notquitestrangers.com. That way you get notifications of every episode that we post. And you also get invited to some of our special gatherings with our guests. And speaking of our guests, we have two very special young ladies joining us today. I'm going to start off by introducing Anagha. Anagha and I go way back to maybe a few months ago. Technically, but her mother, Lavanya, actually has been on both this podcast, Not Quite Strangers, and my previous podcast, Time to Come Alive. So she is a veteran podcast guest. And Anagha, with you, I remember your mother and I talking about, we were in a workshop and you happened to be in the same room while she was sharing. And then you started to share some things. I was just like, wait, how old is she? So Anagha, tell us, how old are you?
I'm 13 years old, turning 14 this October.
Oh, yay. 13 going on 14 in October. Excellent. So thank you so much for saying yes. And we're going to get a little bit more into your backstory. And then I also want to introduce the next guest, Carly. Hello, Carly.
Hey.
And you all should know, Carly is actually the voice of Not Quite Strangers. If you have heard the outro of this podcast, this is Carly's voice.
Oh.
I know, she's like a celeb. And she's also my niece. And I invited Carly because Carly, I know you can talk to just about anybody about just about anything.
That is my only talent.
It is not only, but it's definitely a very prominent one. And, you know, I asked you long ago if you wanted to be a part of the podcast. Obviously, I had you record the outro, but I just couldn't figure out like, who would I match her up with that would, you know, really create an interesting dynamic. And then when I met Anagha, I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly the two people to bring together. So to the two of you, welcome to Not Quite Strangers podcast. Now, why did you say yes? And I know we talked a little bit about this earlier, but for the benefit of anybody listening, why do two teenagers, and Carly, by the way, how old are you?
I'm 15.
15. Woohoo.
I'm an old lady.
Oh. Oh, just hold on to that. So for the benefit of our listening audience, would you share why two teenagers are coming on a podcast today with a real old lady?
I came because my aunt asked me, and she kept asking me over and over again.
See, I wore you down. So
I came because I wanted to have an experience with the podcast, considering I don't listen to many and I haven't found any that catch my interest. So
this might be the one for you. You might be the one that subscribes and actually listens to all the episodes. Have you ever listened to your mom's episode?
I have a while back, but like she played it on TV.
You had no choice. And Carly, did you your dad has been on, your dad Ricardo, my brother, has been on the podcast also twice. He was on Time to Come Alive and also Not Quite Strangers. Have you seen or heard either of his podcast episodes?
They have come up on my YouTube feed because I subscribe, but I didn't watch them. I was like, oh, there's my dad, and I kept scrolling.
I gotta know, because
because it's my dad. Like I see him I see him at home. I don't need to.
You hear his voice already.
Exactly.
Every day. You don't need more.
Like he was probably calling me while I was on YouTube at that point. He's probably like trying to ask me to do something, and I was ignoring him. So
when you could choose to ignore him by just swiping past him.
exactly.
Exactly. Makes sense. All right. Well, I asked the two of you to bring something. When I was thinking of this matchup, the thing that struck me specifically about you two is that both of you have this very strong sense of leadership in your presence, I think, in how you communicate and the ideas that you communicate. But then also, I heard in what you shared with me and what I've seen of you, how creative both of you are in different ways. So I thought, I'm like, there's something around creativity and leadership that seems to be bubbling up for me in this conversation. So I asked you to bring some item to represent that and what it means to you. So Anagha, you brought this Lightning Thief book. Tell us how that's connected to creativity or leadership for you.
Well, one of the most things I'm creative in is writing and fictional writing. And I really like the Lightning Thief because I think it's well written. And it kind of inspired me to get back into reading and even writing because I didn't really find much interest in reading. There weren't books that caught my interest because they were the same thing over and over. They were so boring. But the Lightning Thieves is very interesting. And the entirety of the Percy Jackson series is too. So yeah.
Rick Riordan is awesome. Like
he is.
Like, oh, gosh, the plots, the characters is like, ooh.
Yeah. I've read another book by him. I don't have it, and I did want to bring that, but it's a library book. It's called Sal and Gabby Break the Universe. It was written by him and like another person. So I also recommend that. It's really good.
Okay.
I read his Magnus Chase series, which is like Percy Jackson, but for the Nordic gods. And it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah, my friend has the series, I think, and she's like, finish the Percy Jackson series and I'll give you the Magnus Chase series.
Yeah.
So what is it about this topic or this particular author? I get that they're, Anagha, you mentioned the writing style attracted you, but what specifically in the writing style is so interesting and that you and Carly both seem to be quite taken with it?
He's very relatable. It's very relatable writing. Like it's not like the characters talk like normal people, like they're not like, what's it called? Like when it's like a
fantasy, like old-fashioned people.
Exactly. It's not like
I like that, but like I've read so many fantasy books and it's so annoying. I don't know what it is about it, but like Harry Potter, I don't know why, but it kind of always irks me because everyone's like, oh, Harry Potter is the greatest. Like, it's not that great. It has a bunch of flaws and like a bunch of plot holes. And I don't totally really like the author herself either. But the Lightning Thief, they write it from first point of view. And as a writer, I don't like first point of view normally because it can go horribly wrong if like the slightest wrong move and the whole thing goes downhill. But he wrote it really well.
Yeah, the narrator, like I feel like the narrator is what makes it relatable because it's like this normal kid going into this like adventure, which is like hero's journey, basic storytelling, but he goes into this adventure and he's reacting like a normal person would react instead of being like, oh wow, there's a Demogorgon, I'm just gonna chill. He's like freaking out about it, and it's like, or not Demogorgon, I don't know.
Demogorgon,
I
think is Stranger Things.
Yeah, it sounds great.
No idea what any of them, either of them, or the books are, but I'm just so excited to see the two of you so excited, and so I need to know. So Anagha, you write. You said you actually write. What style or what genre?
I would say fantasy modern, but the more I think about it, the more I realize my story has more fantasy aspects and less modern aspects. So fantasy.
Fantasy is the overall. Cool. Well, Carly, I know you to be an avid reader, and you were sharing your excitement about some release tomorrow, I think it is, you said?
That's a manga. I separate my manga and my novels because they're for different times of they're for different energies, Yeah,
that's true.
I different energies. What does that mean?
Like when I'm in when I'm feeling a novel, like when I'm feeling like I just really just want to read like some like I don't know. I just want to read something. I just want to read a novel right now, and I'll read a novel.
I feel like I might accidentally offend some manga readers there, but when it comes to reading novels, I feel more classy. Kind of like what you said, you know,
That's
feeling like
true.
reading a novel.
You
like,
do feel classy.
Yes. You know, like I'll be like, I want to read a book, and I'll be like, okay, time to make some tea, time to get in my bed with
like
all the
set
blankets
up,
and
you know,
put
and you're like
aesthetic music.
exactly.
Exactly.
Like the lighting just right, and you're like, somebody should come take a
Yes.
picture of me right now. This looks like
You know, I could be on a poster, and then
Exactly.
suddenly I'll be like, I need to draw this, and then I end up not reading. So distracted by the aesthetic, it's just like you don't even read in the first place.
Literally, this has created a mood already. So good. All right, but I don't want to miss opportunity to bring in Carly. You brought Legos, which is a world away from manga and from novels and tea. So could you share with us what is it about the Legos that inspired your creativity or leadership for you?
Okay. Words. So
Words are hard.
words are hard. When I was little, we had a lot of Legos, right? And my family has 5 kids in it. And so I remember when I was like 7, 8-ish, we'd have Legos. I'd build it. I'd be proud of it, you know? But then someone would come, drop it on the ground, it would break, and it would go in the big Lego box, like the big tub full of Legos. That always got spilled for some reason, no matter what. Like it was like if it came out, it was on the ground, upside down. But the recently, not recently, but like over time, I've been like taking those old pieces and like using them to build new things, and not like interesting, like cool things to look at, but like a cube, like you know, like just little like things, and I'll take it apart, put it back together, and it's just like, you know, there's never exactly the piece I need, or there's never exactly what I want to do. So I have to like think like, oh, how do I make this work so that I like it, you know? And I feel like leadership is kind of like that, right? Like the people who you're working with, they're never going to do exactly what you want them to do. They're never going to fall exactly into the role you want them to. So you just have to take what they are doing and use it
and just make it work.
Exactly, to make it work.
Yeah.
And so Legos are leadership, essentially. Copyright.
Legos are leadership. I was gonna say, I'm like, you may want to copyright that. I could see the name of a book or something.
Legos are leadership. You know, like a t-shirt.
I think it's awesome. Well, both of you have siblings, right? Carly, you have 4 siblings. Anagha, you have 1. So
I have 1. Yes. 4.
So I'm curious about what role, you know, we talked about creativity and we're talking about leadership. So interchangeably, how do your siblings either inspire or maybe even stymie your ability to lead or create?
Oh boy. This is gonna be long. But when it comes to my sister, considering she's autistic, so I have to be with her a lot. She kind of has stymied my creativity because I don't really get the opportunity to sit down and write or to sit down and draw. And when I do sit down to do those things, I end up getting distracted because either distracted or I'm just like, I don't have the energy for this. I'm just gonna sit on my bed. I don't want to do this today.
Sitting on your bed is fun, you know. I do it a lot too.
Sitting on your bed and watching YouTube is fun.
Exactly. Like you don't have to always be like thinking. You can just chill.
Just chill. Chilling is good. All right. So with your sister, you think it's just not, you don't get the focus that you need to actually do the things that you want.
Yeah. I don't get not necessarily the focus. The focus is my own fault. I can't necessarily focus. It's more the time.
Time. What do you mean? Why?
Well, in between, like on a normal day when it's not summer, in between school and having to like take care of my sister, help her get to school, just kind of babysit her, if that makes sense. So I don't really get the time.
Got it.
Yeah.
Taking care of her. So I'm curious, now I've talked to your mom about this quite a bit and some of the podcasts that she's been on, but I'm curious, what's it like to to have a sibling who's on the spectrum, autism spectrum?
It's very much a love-hate relationship because sometimes they're loud and you're like, can you please shut up? And then, sometimes they mess things up and it's really annoying when you have to clean up after their messes. But in the end, I care for her a lot. I was forming words. I care for her a lot, and I would give up almost anything for her because she's very important to me.
You sound like such a good sister.
Thank you.
I'm not sure my siblings would do that for me. Like,
I feel like it's mine and my sister's relationship is like something out of a book because it's very much not realistic. I know siblings who just hate each other and they would like sacrifice each other if needed.
They're like, we can save the world or kill my sister. Ooh.
No, we're fine with this.
Carly, why do you think your siblings wouldn't say the same?
Well, me and my siblings have like overall our relationship is pretty good, right? We do a lot of things together. Like we moved around a lot. And so the only thing that was like the same where we moved was each other, right? Like the only people who had all the same experiences were each other, right? So we kind of like through that we are connected, right? They're the only ones who get all my references because we were the only ones who watched all the same shows when we were little. Like, I have to have them there. Someone has to get my jokes. But they also are wickedly annoying, and like they're just like their behavior, their voices, like what they do just annoys me all the time, and I'm the same for them. And so with that, it's like I don't like talking to them that much. Like it's hard. But then sometimes we'll just like sit down and like chill, like eat popsicles and like laugh, and it's like, wow, this is siblinghood. Or
Siblinghood.
Siblinghood. I feel that though, because my parents will be like, play with your sister, she's bored. I'm like, I don't want to play. And it's not, oh, I'm too old and too cool to play. It's just like, I don't know how to play. I don't know what she likes. She's more into her phone than she is into me. And I don't know how to interest her. So, but a lot of the time between us is spent in the bedroom. So like we'll just sit on our bed and I'll be watching my phone and she'll be watching her phone, or I'll be on the computer doing something or sitting on the bed and drawing. So yeah, our relationship is very much based on us getting to do what we want and just existing in each other's presences.
Exist in each other's presences. I think that's really good. Well, I have, Carly's dad is my brother, but he's one of my 3 brothers. I have 3 of them. And Carly, similar to what you said, we moved around quite a bit when I was growing up, and we only had each other. So we made each other laugh. We fought. I'm the only girl. So I also had,
all the privileges.
No, all the privilege. No,
that's not what I hear.
Oh, he's a hater. So whatever. I knew how to assert my privilege. Right? I knew how to assert my privilege a little bit more than my brothers did, for sure. But it was interesting. I think over time, especially now that we're older, I could say this. When I was your age, I was not able to articulate some of the things that you guys are articulating. Maybe I could, but no one asked. Right? Nobody asked me, so maybe I didn't. But I can see that part of my role as the sister is to keep them connected. Like that's like my thing, is to keep them connecting with each other, to keep them connected to other members of the family. I'm kind of like that person. So what's your role? Like when you think in terms of your family and your family structure, what would you guys say is the role that you play, or the intention that you have for your role?
If I may, I am the 3rd unofficial, yet still an adult. I'm like the 3rd parent. Because I have to manage a lot of things, and I have to manage the food, like we have to get things cooked, we have to manage my sister and the things that happen to her, and like the thing that she's okay with, like we have to take her out because she can't stay at home without getting bored, easily bored of like the phone and toys and stuff, while also managing my wants and needs. And it's chaotic, but also not like the world is ending chaotic. If you get what I mean. I don't know how to describe it, but it's chaotic without being chaotic. I'm gonna stick with that. Chaotic without being chaotic.
Chaotic without being chaotic. So you feel like the third parent, but not an adult, clearly. So,
yeah.
And you cook?
Sort of. We have an Instapot, so like I'll put rice in there and we'll cook the rice in there.
Right,
but I can cook. Hold on, I can cook. I have to like also cut vegetables. So we cut vegetables and then we put them in a pan and we like saute them. We don't necessarily fry them, but we do like saute them. And I do know how to do it. I know what spices I need to put, and I know I need to mix it every 2 minutes. But I also I'm not a good judge of whether it's cooked or not. So I'm just kind of given the role of mix it when me and your dad can't immediately mix it. Okay. Or just don't even touch the curry at all. Just take care of your sister. Don't go near the kitchen.
Whenever my mom asks me to do something, I'm always like, did I do it right? Is this done? Is this meat cooked? Can you tell?
I ask a million questions. Salt?
And she's just like, never mind, Carly. Like,
whenever I bake, I always have the recipe pulled up every time, even if I've made it tons of times. My mom's like, surely you've memorized it by now. You say you have a good memory. I'm like, I do, but you and I both know I'm gonna forget something.
Exactly. It's like, even if I know exactly what I'm doing, it's like, just pour the cup in there. I'm like, wait, are you sure it's a cup? Wait,
this much water.
It's sugar, right?
Yes.
Sugar? Oh, okay, cool. And it's like,
so there's cooking, okay. Even Instapot cooking and sauteing vegetables. Carly, what about for you? What is the role and what intention do you bring to your role in family?
I'm a child in my family.
Anagha
is an adult in her family. I am still a child, even though I am the oldest.
I was gonna ask, I forgot to ask, are you the oldest in your family? Are you the youngest, or are you the middle child?
I am the oldest child, but even with that, I save my maturity for when I'm out of the house. Let's just say that, like holding a not insane, crazy person, like aura, like just holding a normal person's aura and like vibe out in like the normal world is hard. It's a difficult thing, like sometimes I just want to yell at people or I'm annoyed and it takes a lot of energy to like
I want to nerd out. I want to nerd out about things so bad in public, but I'm like, do they like it? Do they like me? Am I interesting? Do they not like me? Or
exactly. It's like interacting with people, even though it's fun and I like to talk to people, it's a lot of effort. It's things feel more stressful than they probably need to be. But at home, I am very much still a child. My parents still cook for me. Like obviously I help out around the house. The dishes is my chore. I watch my siblings when that needs to happen. But I don't really have like a role. If anything, I would say my role is to do the things that my parents tell me to do, and that's it. Like when me and my sister babysit, my mom says I'm the one there to make sure the house doesn't burn down, and she's the one there to make sure that like no one dies, and or that to make sure that like take care of them, and I'm the one to make sure the house doesn't burn down. It's like I don't really know.
Yeah, it's interesting you said what you said about that. You save your maturity for when you're out. So what does that look like? Like how, if we were to follow you around with a camera and see you interacting with people at home and out, with other people, like what would be the difference?
I freak out a lot more at home. There's a lot more like vocalization of my opinions.
You make that so nice, so sophisticated. Vocalization of my opinions. I'm like, I'm gonna complain and whine about stuff. Come on.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I mean, in person or when I'm talking to other people, I might be more respectful or be more calm, or like I might call my siblings an idiot or like idiots or like say something right like that. I wouldn't do that in like public. I I definitely make more weird jokes at home because I feel like they're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Like not like weird, but like weird like no one else would understand because it's just something that like we do
Inside.
and
yeah. All right, that's fascinating. You guys both pointed to something when we first started the conversation, before we even started the live stream, and you shared about this idea of being in the light and in the dark as teenagers, right? Because Carly, I asked, you said something like, this is the first time that I've opened my shades, my blinds in like 3 weeks or something. And Anagha, you said, nope, I have to open my blinds. So talk to me a little bit about that. And specifically this idea of the teenage preference for comfort and light or darkness.
I feel like the reason, like there was a logical reason or I don't know if you can call it logical, but there was like a reason behind a lot of teenagers living in the dark, and that's because so they can see the screens. So, like a lot of gaming computers and stuff, you have to close the blinds so you can see the screen, which makes sense. However, I can't be in the dark. I need sunlight. I love sunlight. And I also don't like going outside, but I like sunlight. So I can't like have my blinds closed for 3 weeks. I'd be like, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing that? How are you living without sunlight? Get your vitamin D.
Get your vitamin D. There goes another t-shirt. Carly, and what was it that inspires you to be in, to close your shades and be in more dark spaces?
I don't get as much sleep as I need to. So it's kind of just like it's dark at night and I don't sleep then, and I just leave it in the dark. Also, my house, I don't know why they built it like this, but like our window like faces another neighbor's house, and it's just really awkward. And it's like, I don't want to look at your house. Like I can like see their cars like from my window,
lucky.
and it's like
I'm
awkward.
lucky. I get a view of like the golf course. We have a golf course near our houses. So like there's a golf course and then there's a forest, and like it's a nice view. In our old house, we got more of the sky, so we had like a lot of sunset views.
Nice.
And it's really awesome. Now it's just more, we see a lot of the golf course.
Right now I'm looking at my window. I see a wall and a roof and one of those like spinny things on top of the roof. Like I don't know if it's like an air conditioning thingy.
Okay.
And like a satellite. And that's what I'm looking at. No
inspiring sunsets or sunrises there, huh?
Nope.
I want to change gears just a little bit. So this particular episode, we're filming it during the summertime, and the two of you are in, I think, Carly, you're going into the 10th grade soon, and Anagha, 8th grade. Okay. So talk to us a little bit about what's it like in the summertime, like what are the things you prioritize? Because I'll tell you, my mother, Carly, your abuela, wouldn't let us, we had 2 weeks of summer that we could enjoy and sleep all day if we wanted to, eat Pop-Tarts or cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She was really cool about that for 2 weeks. And then she's like, you got to get out of the house and go do something. Or I will find something for you to do. So we didn't have the luxury to spend the summer doing whatever we wanted, and which was great. Now I really appreciate that as an adult. But it used to really bother me, and it kind of sucked when we were kids. So I'm curious about, what is the expectation when you guys are home during the summer? And well, let's start with that. And then I want to then transition into what it's like to go into school to another grade. But yeah, what's the expectation of being home in the summer?
Well, everyone kind of has their own things, like Lucy's doing ballet. She's like, what's the word? She went on point this summer. Yay. But so she's been doing a lot of that. Oscar had lacrosse, and then me and him are both doing PC, which is it's a performance course. I'm just gonna plug that in there, but it's like it's a program. Essentially, you go in. It's like summer training to get you ready for the off season, because off season is rough, and if you don't do anything all summer, it is going to be hell. So you have to do something. You have to work out. For girls, they focus a lot on explosive movements, because a lot of girl sports like volleyball, basketball, like it's more like there's explosive movements, turns, agility, things like that. We do weightlifting and running, jumps, sprints, conditioning. Well, we don't do a ton of conditioning, but so I've been doing that every weekday this summer, from 11 to 12. And so I have to get out of bed at some point. So it's like, that's kind of been my thing. And then for student council, we had a summer workshop, a leadership workshop with some other student councils over Zoom. So I had to go to that. Next week we have a back to school pep rally. It's to get ready for the orientation, or kind of complicated. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it, but it's essentially we're having like a back to school like festival pep rally celebration thingy. So we've been getting ready for that. And so I haven't been like super busy. There's been tons of time to chill, but at the same time it's like, yeah, I have my own stuff to do. My parents aren't the one pressuring me to like do things. It's like I'm the one who puts myself here.
So you're the one that was like, hey, I want to go to this performance conditioning course, a performance course. And okay, got it.
I can't relate to that. Like the amount of exercise you were talking about, I was just like, how are you surviving? How are you alive right now?
I ask myself that question every time we start to run. I'm like, why did I choose this? But then it feels good. It works out when off season starts. So
yeah, exercise is like my number one enemy. But my expectation for summer is just that I don't know what I'm doing and I'm just gonna improvise. So I don't have any plans. That's the way to do it. Yeah, that's summer. I don't have any plans for summer. Like people will be traveling and it's like cool, just as long as I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn to cram information in my brain, I'm fine. And like my dad put it perfectly. Like the idea of vacation for me, my dad and my sister is just we go out, we eat food that we don't have to cook, and it's just we don't really do anything. My mom is the one who needs like phoenixes burning in the air and action. Anything is vacation for us. But yeah,
phoenixes burning in the air.
He phrased it perfectly. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like that. But yeah, the entirety of summer I've just been watching my phone on the bed. I've been attempting digital art, which is absolute pain. It's so I can't figure out art. I've just recently figured out anatomy, and even then that's hard and frustrating.
I gave up on art long ago. When I was little, I was like, I like to draw, this is fun, and then I'm like, never mind. This is hard.
I used to be like that, and now I'm like, I for some bizarre reason must become an artist now.
It's probably all the anime.
How did you know? And even with writing, I'm like, I need to write. I have so many great story ideas. I'm like, I need to write. I want to write. I need to get onto Google Docs, and then I don't. And I had the horrible idea.
I like to world build. World building is fun for me. I can't write ideas. Like I can't like write like you know how like Rick Riordan has like really good like stories, like narrators. Yeah. I can't do that. But I do like to like make up worlds and like political systems and things like that.
That's actually, weirdly enough, I'm not very good at that. Like, except for this one story idea I've had for a year or so, and then I'm completely changing because 11-year-old Anagha had no idea what she was doing. She was not writing well. I've read the old Google. It's so horrible, and I've completely changed everything. But
11-year-old Anagha, you are judging 11-year-old Anagha 2 years ago.
I am.
Oh, poor girl.
I have completely changed over the course of 2 years. I'm not that old. But yeah, I had the horrible idea to go onto a fan fiction website and start writing fan fiction. Now I can't think of anything. If I go to that page where it's like, you have these works published, I can't come up with anything. I can't write any new chapters, and they're just sitting there in the published tab of my account. I'm like, I need to update, but I don't want to. I don't have the energy for that.
And I got some stuff to work through, apparently.
I do.
But you know, all right, hang on.
Aren't you a life coach, Dia?
I know, right?
Come on.
I didn't bring y'all to my podcast so I could life coach you, but I feel like I'm being called to.
You're like
issues.
my
I could use a
touch
little
senses are
support.
tingling.
I have issues.
So speaking of life, I know I'm just like, I want to ask more questions. Stop. No, not that one. Okay, so I'm curious about a couple of things. Now you've shared about your summer and all the things that you do or don't do and how you've come about getting to those things. One thing that I was like asking teenagers in general, because I had to admit, you guys don't see it right now, but I was a pretty surly teen. I remember, I love to smile. You can see it. Okay. I'll give that to you. But, I love smiling. I'm generally pretty jovial person. But there was a period of time, probably between ages 14 and 19, where I would not smile in a single picture, especially with my family. Like everybody was like smiling and going like this. And I was just like,
that sounds like Oscar from ages 5 to now.
5 to 10, right?
Yeah.
And I can't tell you why. I don't know why I felt that way, but I felt like I had to be like super, everything that was happening, I had to be like the opposite feeling. If everybody wanted to go right, I was like, no, I'm going to go left. If they wanted Chinese, I'm like, no, I want McDonald's. Like it was ridiculous. I felt like I had to. It was like it was a badge of honor.
I can kind of relate to that. Like if so many people hype this one thing and I'm like, so I know I'm immediately not going to do that. I'm not going to like
I'm the opposite. For me, it's like, if people like it, there has to be something they're getting out of it, It's like,
no. I'm not talking like Amazon likes or recommendations. I'm talking like family stuff. Now in public, like to your point, Carly, I was like you, like in public, I was a little different, but with my family, I felt like I could express my angst. Now, the question I want to ask the two of you is, how do you express your angst? Like, what are those things that you do or say that will give you this, like, hey, back off or give you space? For me, it was just like, I just didn't smile and I looked as miserable as I possibly could. And people didn't ask me stuff. What's your thing?
I have to verbalize it. I have to say, I don't want to talk right now, but that usually doesn't help anything. So it's like, at this point, I just deal with it.
Oh,
I'll try to escape somehow using my quick wits
and really hard
right tongue.
I'm not sure. I think it's like headphones because I listen to music a lot. It's like I'll put on my headphones. Like I don't want to talk to y'all. I don't like people currently as of now. Just leave me alone and let me listen to Paramore. Let me get depressed with Paramore.
What?
But
is this a group?
It's a band.
It's a band.
Paramore.
It's a very popular band. I don't even listen to like all of their music. There's just this one album and 5 of the songs in that album I've just been listening to on loop.
Got it. And that's the moment where you tell people, don't be in my face. I need to be alone, kind of thing. Okay.
Nothing I do will make them leave me alone.
Either that,
like I'll be in the bathroom.
Like 25 people in your home, so yeah.
I'll be in the bathroom, actually in the bathroom, and my dad will be like, "Carly, come do this." I'll be like, "I'm in the bathroom, sorry," and he's like, "Come on, hurry up!" And I'm like, "I'm in the bathroom, man."
I'll be like, "I'm going to the bathroom. My stomach hurts.
Leave me alone.
I can't come out. I'm not." Yeah, I hide in the bathroom in my bedroom a lot. As well.
What's something that adults don't know? But you obviously have friends that you hang out with, people you spend time with. What are some? I know there's a lot of things adults don't know, but what's something that if they knew, like that you'd be surprised that adults aren't really hip to, or that they're kind of clueless, but you feel like, okay, let me clue you in on something. If you had to clue us in on something about teenagers or something like that, what would that be?
Well, that's kind of the point, isn't it?
It is.
That adults don't know.
I know.
That's like, it's part of it's like,
and this is the reveal. This is a grand reveal.
Do you mean like our parents or just adults in general?
I think adults in general. So it could be teachers or other people. Yeah, I think the parent dynamic is a little bit more complex.
I feel like I need to say this. Teenagers don't do drugs, and we don't want to do drugs because I've seen so many shows where teenagers like there's drugs and
you're still in middle school.
Yeah, I know, but like that's all people think of when it comes to teenagers. Even if I was in high school.
Do you know any kids who vape? I know, like, okay, I'm not gonna say like percentages, but there is a significant number of the people who I know or people at my school who do vape and do things like that because they're kind of dumb because they're teenagers. but I wouldn't say that
Is
that's like
vaping? Is vaping? Is it a drug? Is it?
yeah,
It not?
there's
is.
nicotine in it, so it's addictive.
It's like,
Okay.
it's
Tia, have you
the
been
better
vaping?
version of smoking.
I forgot.
That's not true. Don't take that literally. But I always hear people are like, it's where you smoke water vapor, I think, and it's like flavored and there's nicotine, obviously.
Yeah.
And stuff. So it's
people
very
have
bad.
like gone to the hospital for it. Like
Yeah.
I remember a couple years ago there was this whole thing about these kids who had like lung issues because of it. People still do it because whatever. But yeah, I feel like teenagers do dumb things like drugs.
They do.
Not all of them. Like obviously people aren't doing it like because they want to be stereotypical or something, but like people are idiots, and I'm saying that lovingly as a fellow idiot who not as idiotic, but like people make decisions like that. I'd say that personally I'm not that cool. I'm not that hip with the teens as well, even though I am a teenager. So you can blame my parents for that. I don't even have Snapchat. It's really sad, guys. Like I got a phone.
I don't have
weeks ago.
Snapchat.
Like,
I don't have Instagram.
rough.
I don't have TikTok, and I never want to get TikTok ever. I don't like that app.
Why? Okay.
I mean,
okay.
There are some aspects, like the art TikToks I really like. Those are really cool. But regular TikTok is very annoying. I don't know why, but
there's no such thing as regular TikTok. TikTok is exactly what people put into it. There's comedy, there's fashion, there's DIY, there's ASMR, there's there's like weird TikToks, like you don't have to worry about that. But like there's so many cool things that you can just constantly.
There are some cool things, but like I don't know. I have so many issues with TikTok that it would take a long time for me to get through all of them. Like I don't completely hate TikTok. There are some, like one of my favorite artists, musical artist, was on TikTok before he got a YouTube channel. I like them. I like some. They're called Mad Psy.
Mad Psy. Okay.
Yeah, but there are some things I like about TikTok. TikTok is pretty interesting, but there are just also a bunch of things I don't like about it.
All right, I'm gonna throw like a few like rapid fire style questions, just to like hot takes, right? Hot takes for the two of you. So one, TV shows versus online streaming.
Aren't they the same thing?
Not necessarily.
No.
Oh, you mean like YouTube versus like something on Netflix?
Perhaps.
I like content. Give me something I'm going to enjoy. I don't care where it is.
I don't like American cable TV shows. I don't know why, but like some of them are really just cringy, and I don't know. Like,
well, that's the same with anything. There are just some things that are just cringy, and there are some things that are amazing. For example, have you watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I want to.
Hilarious.
I've heard it's really good, but like my mom won't let me because there's like a lot of sexual jokes and stuff.
Well, I mean, that's true, but it's
I've seen clips of it.
Watching it.
My mom introduced it to me, so it's fine.
Right, I saw it when I was like really little. My mom saw it when I was really little. But yeah, I prefer YouTube because like there's like endless content, and I can just dive into anything.
Yeah.
All right, next.
That's true.
Fast food versus Whole Foods.
Fast food, any day of the week.
Which ones?
Anything with fries or
fries are good.
Fries are really good.
Fries are just
Panda
good.
Express, Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's. Okay, we went to Burger King for the first time in like 4 years yesterday. It was really good. Had a Whopper. It was awesome. What else? What else was there? I can't think of anything else. But Chick-fil-A, because yes, always. But
Anagha, what about for you guys?
I love Panda Express, but I only ever eat it when we're at the mall because I'm the only one in my house who wants Panda Express.
Why? How are there people who don't like Panda Express? I was going somewhere with my church group the other day, and they're like, no Panda Express. I'm like, how? I would.
It's so good.
So good.
I
It's
know.
so
But
good.
like
All right,
we do
so we
visit
like-
McDonald's a lot. We've been through the McDonald's drive-throughs quite a bit, and Taco Bell. Taco Bell is
I
great.
mean,
I love.
the pandemic wasn't exactly kind to our eating habits. We weren't exactly thriving with healthy eating at that point.
All right.
Same here.
So
But like we're trying to buy out.
I want to hear, so pandemic, what's your hot take on the pandemic, and what's, especially now that, you know, the vaccine is out and all this other stuff is going on, what do you guys think about that?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I didn't get to meet people, and I was alone in my house, and I just my mental health kind of went downhill, in my personal opinion. I felt very alone. I felt very shouted out by society, and I'm like, I need people. I crave people. Where are people?
Yeah.
You're like, person?
Human, fellow human.
Contact. No, for me it was okay. Other than online school and like
Online
dealing
school
with school online was stressful. Dealing with like clubs and like events. I do mock trial and model UN and things like that. Online events were not fun for me. They were like really awkward, stressful, and weird. However, the period of time, fourth quarter, eighth grade, like 2 years ago, where we just didn't do anything because no one knew what they were doing. So it was just like, was amazing. It was awesome. I like didn't have, there was no worries. Everything I was worried about had been canceled. It was like, it was freedom. It really was. Because like no one was going anywhere, but the power wasn't out. Like when there's the snowstorm, internet power went out. So we couldn't like do things like that. But I could just watch TV and chill or read books online, and it like, and everything was chill, you know? Like
Lonely? You didn't feel lonely, like not being able to interact with your friends and
I
stuff?
have siblings, so
Yeah.
they
Not
talk
alone, but
Yeah.
How much of that?
About online school.
yeah,
I
that's
didn't
my
li-
next
I
topic.
liked. Oh.
Yes,
Okay.
perfect. Go.
Yeah. So about online school, I liked. So in sixth grade, we had most of the school year, and then we had that last bit was quarantine. That was really nice because we didn't have to go on Zoom calls at 8 in the morning. We could just get up whenever we wanted to, and we just had to finish the assignments. And the assignments weren't even that big. You know, it was small, which makes sense. That was okay, like considering it from a school
you
standpoint.
could finish all your work in like 2 hours
Yeah,
and you'd be
yeah.
fine.
Mhm. And like
But
that
then
was okay
this
for the
year-
school.
Was where the trouble started,
Yeah.
because they'd be
Why?
like, okay, 6 hours online, guys, just like straight. You're just gonna you're gonna sit at your
eyes.
laptop. You're gonna go to your first period class. Your first period class is gonna be online. You're gonna sit here, listen to your teacher, do whatever work you need to do on Zoom with your camera on, and you're gonna participate in the conversation, and you're gonna pay attention, and you're just gonna sit in your room doing that. Cool. Next class, same thing. Next class, same thing. Lunch break for maybe 30 minutes, because the teacher always went over. No matter what happened, they would always go over the lunch break. Like, this is your lunch break too, isn't it? Like, what? Okay. And then you'd go back to class, and it's like being on Zoom that long, like having your face on camera for that long of a time isn't like, it's kind of stressful. It's like a lot of pressure, especially since you're classmates and you're just like, whatever. So, you know, I gave up a lot. There were a lot of foreheads. There were a lot of days where I was paying attention, but it's like, yeah, no, being on Zoom that long was just not it. It's
Awesome.
like, you know,
It's exhausting. It really, I get that. It's really, really
I
exhausting.
don't like looking at my face in Zoom. Like now I have that touch-up filter where they can kind of cover your skin, and like the light around you is nice. But like before that, I didn't like looking at my face. I'm like, who is this ugly person? Why am I looking at them? I don't like this. I don't like looking at myself.
I don't like,
And, like-
okay, what's the word? The camera's on and off dynamic, where it's like, okay, now we can turn our cameras off. Okay, now, like, you know, everyone's always waiting for the time to turn their cameras off. The other day,
Yes.
I had to log in through my phone because my internet wasn't working. Apparently everyone had turned their cameras off but me, and I hadn't realized it. And I was the only person in the whole group. It was a group of like 20 kids with my camera on. And I was just sitting there working like that, you know? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I
Like,
hated the
oh,
How
camp.
shameful.
it
I
wasn't
know.
shameful.
And
it
my
was
eyes kind of died
embarrassing.
because of online school. My eyes kind of died
Your
because I was
eyes
at the
died.
computer all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went back
know.
in person as soon as I could.
It
It was kind of nice because my school's really big, and so half the students were gone, and so it was like, okay, you know, like I can actually walk through the hallways for once, and there was like space to sit on the bus, like I can have my own seat. I was, oh, nice, fancy. But then all the students came back slowly. Like by the end of the year, I think it was like 3/4 of the students, and the bus was like full, and like the hallways were a hassle, and it's like, gosh, like,
All right.
can y'all go back online? Like,
last few questions here. If you had a magic wand, right? Or no, better yet, no magic wand. 3 wishes. 3 wishes. What would you use? What would you wish for? With 3 wishes. It could be
okay,
anything. Could be anything.
I
Like
would wish
or
to
the world.
speak all the languages in the world. I just want to be fluent in everything. I want to be able to read and write in any language. Obviously, like world peace and stuff, but I have to think about that because, like, you can't just say world peace because, like, what does that mean? Who's in charge of the world peace? Like, there has to be someone in charge. So, like, who's in power at this point?
Is
It
this
could
your
be-
second wish? Are we what? I
This is
mean,
the
No,
second
she's like saying why she wouldn't just immediately wish, oh, world peace.
okay, got it. So
Yeah.
all the
'Cause, like-
languages in the world, and then you're debating whether or not world peace deserves to
Yeah.
use up one of your wishes. Okay.
Probably something about, like, I don't know. Like it would just happen automatically. Like it would just like be there now.
Yeah, instant.
Well, maybe
Like
I
a
would
magic.
wish for, like, you know, like concentration camps and stuff, because like
You
what's
would
happening
wish
with like the
for them?
leaders in China
For
and
them
then the
to not
Rohingya
be.
and
not have them, okay.
Myanmar, like
Yeah.
just like ending that would probably be a good wish. Maybe something about like distributing food to like starving people, because I know that like food distribution is a really big issue.
Yeah.
Maybe something about, I feel like I have to be noble and be like, look at the world's big problems and like try to fix them. But if I'm being honest, I would probably just wish to have unlimited money to be able to buy whatever books I wanted to buy,
Mhm.
and unlimited candy to be able
Okay.
to eat.
Unlimited money and candy, all the languages in the world, and something dealing with world peace. It could be concentration camps. It could be distribution of food. All
Just
that.
so you know, Lucy walked in the room and is now sitting on the
Right.
ground.
And
So,
Lucy is her younger sister. FYI.
yes, she's awkwardly waving at me right now.
That's fine. Does Lucy
she's
want to come over
smiling.
and say hello?
You want to come say hi, Lucy? No, she said no.
Okay, got it.
Vehemently.
Fine.
All right.
Vehemently? Is that how you say it?
Vehemently? Yeah.
Vehemently? Yeah.
Anagha, what about for you? 3 wishes.
Okay, first off, I'd want to end all like racism, homophobia, sexism, Islamophobia, all of that. Just, I want people to get along because it's stupid. You're really nitpicking over someone's skin color. That's stupid. Why would you do that? So my first wish would be to end all of that, and that it just didn't exist in the first place. And we could just get along, because a lot of the population of Earth is adults. Sure, you can get along, right? You're mature. Your brains have matured, right? My second wish would be.
I mean, you think that.
You think that? Right?
I don't know. You sometimes mature into really big jerks.
Yeah. You're 30 years
Relative.
old and you're still nitpicking over like
Differences in people.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
My second wish would be that I wouldn't have like the consequences of things with sugar and carbs in them wouldn't affect me. Like I
That
could
is
just
a good
be
wish.
constantly healthy, and I could eat whatever I want. I could eat.
That is a really good wish.
Yeah.
Like, your body's in like peak condition no matter what you do. So like you could not work out.
That's what I
for
want,
years,
because then
and
I
then-
can taste all the things I want to. I can eat all the things I want to. Enjoy the taste without having to be like, I'm probably so unhealthy right now. I'm gaining weight. My
I don't even think about it
triglycerides
anymore.
are through the roof now.
I'm 15.
Are
I'm
you
young.
really worried about your triglycerides at 13?
My parents have me worrying about my triglycerides.
Okay.
My metabolism is safe for now. So that's my policy. While I'm safe, I'll do what I want to do. And then
Yeah.
once I become like older and I have to worry about that.
As
then,
a teenager, I'm just gonna eat what I want and do what I want and not freaking care about exercise. But then once I hit 20, I'm like, okay, time to like not worry about my body. So the million responsibilities I'll probably have with my body on top there. My third wish, as of now, I feel like those first two wishes would be kind of eternal wishes that I've always had since I was little. My third wish as of now is that we could finally understand my sister, because it's kind of hard understanding her. We're slowly getting there, but like as of right now, I wish I could read her mind and see what she needs and see what she wants and be like, oh, you want cookies right now? Let me go get some for you. You need a hug, you're upset. Let me comfort you. I really wish we could understand my sister, because it's hard.
You are such a good sister.
Thank you.
Those
I
are,
get that
those are
a
really
lot.
good wishes. Wow, I get that a lot. Yeah.
Arlene,
Yeah.
do you want to redo since Lucy is in the room now?
No.
You're like, no.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I would probably do something noble and like nice, but I wouldn't want to. I mean, like I would want there to be like no racism. That sounds nice, but like I also want unlimited money.
It's valid to worry about yourself and be like, I want you want the best for yourself. That's not like narcissistic.
No, it's not. I think you should, everyone, all of us should mind our own hearts and mind our own minds and our well-being.
But my wish probably wouldn't help my well-being. Having unlimited money probably wouldn't be the best thing for my mental
depends on
health.
how you're using it. Unlimited, this abundance. My wish would be abundance and connection. I have like more generic types, right? The specifics I'm not as interested in, because I think the older I've gotten is like, oh, every generation or every couple of years, the details change. So I think connection. So to your point, this whole idea of racism and all the isms, that those go away. But for me, is really like connection, like people really connect in meaningful ways, no matter who they're connecting to. That's one wish. And the other one is like abundance of everything that I love. Like chocolate. Chocolate would be one. You're not wrong. Yes, that could be one of the things that are abundant.
You love like a what's the word? Like a machine that like drops chocolate. Like,
yes.
I don't want a machine that drops chocolate. I want to be to just like think it and go, oh, here it is.
That's smart. When I was little, I remember like sitting at my desk in school and being hungry and thinking, I just want to like imagine food and have it like be in my desk.
Like, that would be so useful. We could end world hunger with that. Like, just
imagine
I want food right now. Boom.
Boom. Hey. I don't know what my third wish would be. What would my third wish be? I covered like the personal stuff. I think I like this idea of like this evergreen health, like just being able to always, whatever I do, whether it's sleep or food or anything that contributes to my well-being.
That's a pretty lazy wish though.
What?
Like I would also make it. But it's pretty like
don't judge my wishes.
No, I actually really like that wish. I personally really like that wish. That isn't. I don't know.
I think it's practical. It's practical. But now I want to. So first of all, you guys have been a trip. It really has been the fastest hour I've spent in a long time.
It's been an hour.
I know. It's been an hour. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit here. I am so curious. So what has it been like? You've never met before. The two of you have only met in this instance online in this podcast. So what was that like for you?
I mean, we both seem like pretty normal, chill people. So, and then we both like to read.
I'm very much not chill. Very much not chill. But
when I say chill, I mean you're not like a horrible person who's like going to judge me and be mean. Yes.
I have judged you, but in a positive way. You are now on my list of teenagers older than me that I don't feel scared of. Teenagers
I had the same thing. Oh my gosh. For me, all the high schoolers I knew were terrifying.
I know.
I was so scared of them.
I
don't know. They always seem like taller and older than me, even though I was usually taller than them. They just be like, oh.
8th graders were terrifying to me in 6th grade because I'd get lost trying to go to PE in the 8th grade hallway, and they were so tall, and I nearly got stepped on multiple times, and it's like,
I know the
ha. So smart.
Yeah,
So yeah,
positive
psychological
congratulations.
thing.
Congratulations.
positive-
I don't fear you.
Thank you.
I don't fear you. What are you both taking away from this experience?
That there's another person out there who also likes to read and manga and anime, and also likes to talk. I don't know. It's nice to know there are people who share your interests.
Yeah.
Like, it's, it's like I know somewhere else in the back of my mind, like whenever I make a nerdy joke, maybe Anagha, she would have gotten it. Like she would have gotten the joke.
Anagha, what about for you?
I'm taking away that there's a 15-year-old that likes me. Because I've rarely interacted with high schoolers.
I mean, you will in the future.
Yeah. Like,
if all goes well.
There's you and there's like another high schooler friend I know who was a childhood friend. So it's not that bad, but like otherwise I fear high schoolers so much. They're just so intimidating.
I had a couple friends who were like 4 years older than me, because in military communities, like age really doesn't matter that much, because it's like we're all gonna leave in a couple years anyway. So it's like if you're gonna be like, I only hang out with 4th graders, then you're gonna be lonely. So everyone's kind of like, hey, are you a couple years older than me? That's chill. Let's all just hang out. So I had a couple friends who were like high schoolers when I was in middle school, but they were nice people. So they were like positive experiences. So,
I have another random question that's just come up for me. And so this might go over a little bit, because you both have alluded to some things around culture. And I think when you said this about the military kids, I thought, oh, both of you, I would say, are third culture children in some way, shape, or form, right? So Carly, your parents are 2 different races, right? So you're biracial, black and white. And Anagha, you were born here in the US, Anagha?
No, actually, I was born in India.
You were born in India?
Yeah, I was born in India. We moved to America like very soon after I was born. I say 2 months. Like I say, oh yeah, we moved 2 months right after I was born. But in reality, I don't know. I'm just making that up.
Got it. So my question though is, because you have this third culture experience, right? So your parents both both of your parents grew up in different cultures than what you're growing up in. So I'm curious about how do you identify, or is there anything about it that you identify with?
I usually, when someone asks, I say, okay, a lot of times this happens because I'm the only person of African descent in a room. So if I'm the only person who's part black, I might say I'm black. If everyone else is white or Asian, I'll just be like, am I the only black person here? If I'm the only Hispanic person, the same thing, But for me, kind of like, I am who I am, like, I've been saying like a lot. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I feel like I'm not part of a culture, but because of that, I don't have that kind of pressure behind me of like, oh, you are this, you need to make sure you do this. It's more like, I'm me. I wish I spoke Spanish. My dad's from Panama. My mom is super white, Vermont, Irish, French, descent. Like,
I don't think that qualifies as super white, but
I mean, that's it. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
I kind of feel that, because it sounds weird saying it out loud, but I feel like I'm shunned from both American communities and Indian communities. Indian communities because like I'm very American, and like I don't have an accent, and I didn't grow up in India, and I know very little Telugu, which is like my mother tongue. And like my American communities, because I'm Indian, I'm foreign, and I might not understand their culture a lot, because like I don't understand, why people like I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I don't fit in one community, so I'm just kind of in this in between miscellaneous community of a bunch of people who are like me and they don't know to identify with their like homeland or America.
And what is that like? Because both of you, I think, are expressing very similar things, right?
I mean, I would have to say that for me, it's kind of the opposite, because I can fit in anywhere, you know? Like when there's like one other black kid in the class, it's like,
yo.
do you really? But I can also like, yes. But like if I'm only around white people or I'm only around non-military kids, like I'm good at communicating, you know? I don't feel limited by, I mean, they can judge me. They can think, wow, she's really not whatever, but it's like, you know, what are they gonna do? Like, not be friends with me? It's like, we're like, I don't, yeah, you know,
you're like, I'm adorable. Like, why would people choose that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know,
I got that.
You have your preferences. That's okay. You know?
So that's interesting. So for you, you feel the freedom that you could actually choose what culture you decide to connect to or who you decide to connect to. And Anagha, it's interesting that for you, you feel like you're really kind of in between. What's the impact of that? We're not done yet.
The impact of that is I don't ever feel like I belong, and that's why I choose to you know, make the first thing about me known is that I like insert thing, like I like video games, or I like anime, or I like Percy Jackson. I'd rather be known as the writer rather than, you know, I'm American / I'm Indian or whatever.
Got it. So the ethnicity, the culture, the nationality, all that stuff is actually quite limiting in many ways, right? Because I think what you all, the two of you anyways, in this conversation just showed that there were so many things. You didn't even know that about each other, probably. Because I don't think I ever told Carly, oh, Anagha is Indian. I don't think I did. And I don't think Anagha told you that, oh, Carly, you know, her dad is black, her mother's white. Like, I don't think I ever mentioned those dimensions of diversity, but the two of you connected on so many other levels. I think to your point, Anagha, that's what makes people way more interesting, right?
I feel like that's kind of a generational thing, you
what
know?
Do you mean?
Like, or maybe not a generational thing, but I know specifically for my community, which is really like very, very diverse. We have tons of people from all over the world, like tons of South Asia. I have like a bunch of friends who are from like Nigeria or Ethiopia, black kids, white kids, Asian,
Black
Hispanic.
and white kids are considered American. That's
well, you know, I'm using the different divisions to make a point.
Got it.
It's kind of the opposite in my community. Like where I live, there's a lot of Indians, there's a lot of white people, and there's like some people in between, like black people, Asian people, etc.
Fascinating.
That's how it is in like the advanced classes at my school. It's actually a really big issue. There are almost no black kids in like the GT, like those programs. I mean, they are there,
GT,
but
gifted and talented.
Yes. They are there, but they're very, very few. In 8th grade, there were like 4 kids in the program that were black or Hispanic out of like hundreds. So it was like,
I can relate to that. That's kind of there in my school too.
Yeah, but outside of the program, it's super diverse. And because of that, you don't really look at someone and you go, how can I relate to this person as a white person? How can I relate to this Hispanic person to make them talk to me? It's like, hey, we have this class together. Or maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just
I do that too. It's my first thought is not, oh, they're white, how can I relate to them as a person who grew up in an American culture? It's more like, do you like anime, yes or no? Have you heard of Undertale? That's like my main priority.
That's how you filter people out.
Yeah.
You're like,
you don't like Undertale, you're immediately irrelevant to me. You know, you don't like anime, your opinion is immediately whatchamacallit,
irrelevant,
invalid. Exactly. You're dead to me. Goodbye.
You don't like anime, you're dead. Yes. Look, ladies, I have just had a blast getting to know the two of you and seeing the two of you just bounce back and forth with these interesting takes and topics. So as we're wrapping up, what final words do you have for one another, for me, or for the audience?
This is stressful. You should have told us to prepare for this at least.
This was stressful?
The final words. Like,
Oh, the
it's
final
what are
word
they
is
gonna remember
final
us
words.
as?
Okay, I was about to say this is stressful part.
want to be remembered for on this podcast?
I'm gonna say something really inspirational here. Pursue what you like. Do what you like. Don't worry about grades or upholding a name. Do what you like.
Hey, okay.
Don't be afraid to talk to people is my thing.
Yeah.
Because how many friends did I make because it's like we both were annoyed by something and we're just like making eye contact about it, like you know, like, oh great.
I have bonded.
An eye
over
roll brings
hating
people
movies.
together.
Exactly.
Eye rolls
Like,
will bring
find
the
the
world
connections,
together.
you know?
Find the
like
connection.
when you're in a room with someone and you have something in common, why not just say, hey, I like your t-shirt, or oh my gosh, the homework is insane, or hey, you're in my art class, right? Like, I feel like I know a ton of kids would just prefer to just stay in their bubble. Right? It's like they'll make friends and do things, but like if they're sitting next to someone, they're not going to start a conversation. But you know, there's no reason to be afraid of that. So just talk to people.
And then last
But
word.
that is easy for me to say. So.
But I think you know, all of us can only speak from experience anyways, right? And what you're encouraging is for people to expand their experiences. So final word. This is for both of you the first time on a podcast. So I'm curious, what would you say about that experience now after now being on the other side?
10 out of 10 would be on a podcast again.
All right.
I probably am going to regret something I said today and realize it's going to be recorded for all eternity and like have like a panic attack about it, but then I'll forget about it. So, you know,
exactly.
Yeah. Sorry for anything dumb I said. I apologize.
First of all, neither of you said anything dumb or irrelevant. I thought it was fascinating. Both of you were a delight. And I'm serious. And I give out compliments, but I don't give them out all that generously sometimes. But I just enjoyed it. When it's deserved, you will get it full on. And I do think both of you are just fantastic, phenomenal, fun. I so appreciate the energy that you brought, the openness. Like from the instant that we said on, y'all were like, so I just really appreciate that you brought that to the podcast.
When you bring two talkative people in a room, what do you think?
I know. What do you do? And my wish for you is that you continue not only to connect with other people like you both mentioned, but also with each other. So I do feel like this could be a really great blend. You might even have your own podcast. Who knows?
That sounds like a lot of work, if I'm being honest.
Hey, Anagha has the setup, so maybe you just show up on Zoom and there you go. Talk about anime and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Not Quite Strangers. Big thank you to Anagha and Carly for making this episode super fun and enjoyable. I think we learned a lot. We got into the mind of the teenager.
I'm not the best example of a teenager.
Neither am I.
Yeah.
So.
I chose the wrong people.
The mind of a rare teenager.
But no, I think you guys prove a point because we also, teenagers it's not a monolith. It's not like every single teenager is this particular type. So you guys just proved a point, whether people had a stereotype about what you would do or say or not. I think this is exactly what we wanted them to experience. And the fact that you are slightly different ages and different places in your school career, I think also proves the point. So you can still connect even if you're 2 years apart and you're not scared of each other. So great. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for saying yes. I'm so glad that you said yes to me and that your parents also led the way by modeling in their own way. Who you are is a function of who they are, right? For good or bad. And the rest of you who tuned into this episode, thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of Not Quite Strangers. Remember to subscribe, www.notquitestrangers.com. And when you listen to the outro, know that it's Miss Carly over here. All right, everyone, have a wonderful rest of the day.
You've been listening to the podcast Not Quite Strangers. Be sure to subscribe or follow on your favorite video or podcast platform. And for more information and content, go to notquitestrangers.com. See you next time.